just give a quick demo of a tool that I built to kind of help me and other people I work with learn new concepts and software faster. So the fundamental idea here is that the best way to learn deeply technical concepts is through a course. Um, that's why when you need to learn physics, you take a class. You don't just usually pick up a book and learn quantum physics. You need a little bit more structure. So right now, I have to learn this library for a work project. So simple binary encoding. Basically, what it does is define an XML schema, and it'll generate encoders and decoders to create or support messaging for low latency applications, binary messaging. So that's basically what I have. I have a project here that uses the SBE library that I just showed. So um, we've imported it into the POM file. It's a Java project, so we're using Maven. But basically what I wanted to show is what you'll do in order to kind of create a course from this is you create a bunch of features, and let's say you're going to commit. So instead of git committing, you can use the tool, which I called Sponge, and there's an action called commit. So my new feature, you can commit that, and then what it'll do is it'll create a bunch of, for any feature that you want to merge into like an integration branch, it will create a git tag that says, okay, here's like lesson 1, and the next one will just increment to lesson 2. So for every feature you're adding, you can create little mini lessons for them, so that you can just like git check out the lesson you want to do. And so that's one part of it. And the second part is I create a directory for course, but you need to have this YAML file, excuse me. And this YAML file is just kind of like a markdown file, but what it does is you can like bring in multiple markdown files across your code base. You just give it a path for where the file is, and it'll bring in the files in the same sequence that are listed here. Also, I use PlantUML for diagramming, so I can just point it at my PlantUML text files, and it'll create that for me. But the thing that's kind of different that I built was just to add questions and answers into the site that this generates, so that I can basically have questions that I would want anyone who's supporting this in production to know before we actually put them in a real scenario. So yeah, you just kind of say what the question is here, and then the choices, possible answers is multiple choice, where the key is what the choice is, and the value is whether you would select it or not. So true is select, false is don't. So yeah, you just add the questions that you want here. And what I can do now is, once you have that site or the YAML file, you can create the site. So yeah, you just run the sponge run on against the YAML file, and PlantUML takes forever to run. So waiting for that to happen. So that completed, and now what it's going to do is actually spin up a nice little server for us. So if we go to localhost, the port, and I now have the complete file, and just to kind of map where we are, I want to do lesson 1. That's right here, lesson 1. So the flow I usually take is, I pulled in a markdown file. I usually go through kind of an overview of what I'm trying to do on the website, and this is the PlantUML diagram here. But then when I'm ready to start actually doing the coding, I'll jump over to the actual markdown file, because any file you pull in, it'll give you the actual path. that it pulled in. And so I like to think of this part as almost kind of like a problem set. So I'll grab this name and then pull it up here and kind of go through what it wants me to do. And I like to do it in here just because it's using the IDE is a little more convenient to hop around to the places that I need to actually look at the code. So I need to implement this person schema that represents the person class, and then I need to generate the encoders and decoders, implement the codec, and bottom line is I need this test to pass. So this thing kind of proves that I've done things correctly. Right, so just like a problem set in a normal course, you actually have to do some work, and there's a test that proves that your work was correct. So let's say I actually did that, and I would actually do the implementation by just doing, when I showed up here about the lessons, these are just tags. I'll just git checkout like lesson 1, and because in Git you can tell, I can show, so like you can just give Git a path, right, to check out or not check out. So Maven will have a clean separation between your production code, source main, and your test code, source test. So literally the tool just kind of Git reverts the your production code and keeps the test, so you can keep running the test and watch those fail, and all the markdown. But then the implementation is reverted from the one who originally did it, so the person running through the course can re-implement it to get like a good understanding of how it works. So once you do that, you'll have the test passing. You can move on. You should know by now what these questions are, the answers are to them, but you have to go through to make sure, like, there's lots of blind spots that sometimes you don't know, and these questions are meant to just be as a safety net to, like, do you really know the things that you were supposed to pick up? We use a lot of maps in these implementations, so you have to know how to represent a map data structure, and that's how you do it. So if it's right, it tells you it's right. If it's wrong, it'll tell you it's wrong. But if you get it right, you can move on. And then, the basic elements are needed for the schema are here. So that's correct. And now I'm done. So I've completed the lesson. And the idea here is that these can be timed, and everyone on the team can kind of collaborate with this file to make it as fast as possible for people to learn and be up to speed to support this feature. And then you can either make a file per feature, or you can put them all in one. Doesn't really matter. Just whatever the best way is for your team to get up to speed on the thing you're trying to learn. Yeah, so you can create a full-blown course pretty quickly, and then scale it out to your team.